Testing, testing.
Testing. How I did it is like very exaggerated.
Here to God damn it. Here to share the wild. Hold on.
I had to re-record so many times because I kept fucking it up.
Okay, well, can we do it?
Yeah, go for it. It's recording.
Oh, hey. This is That's Wild, the podcast. We're Lauren and Jen, two best friends of over a decade and your girlies behind the mic, here to share the wildest stories history has to offer.
Picture an adult bedtime story. Expect crazy twists, questionable humor, plenty of sass, and likely some choice expletives. We're diving into history with a bit of chaos and a whole lot of fun.
Was that better?
I liked that.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay, I love you. Bye. Hello, hello.
Hi.
I missed you.
I missed you too.
I like seeing your face.
It's the best part of my week.
I
Don't tell
know.
my daughter that.
No worries.
Okay. Look at what I'm drinking from. I don't know if you can tell.
Is that my bitch be my maid of honor or something?
Yes. This glass, which I have preserved for, when did you get married?
2018. Yeah.
For 7 years now, which for me, preserving a glass for 7 years is almost unheard of. But I poured myself a glass of wine this evening because I'm finally like, in our last recording, I was telling you of all my goddamn ailments. I think I'm getting better. Kind of.
Oh, they're better?
Off.
You do? Oh my God, you've been sick forever.
Life just carries sickness now.
I think everyone's been sick this January. Everyone I know
has been so sick. I went to my workout class for the first time this morning, and it's one of those classes where they like always tell you to up your weight, and I'm like, listen, I took a 2-week hiatus. I had fucking toe surgery, like lay off.
I went to a workout class this past Saturday with our friends Adam and Ari, and we've been going every Saturday, like to a new class. I'm third wheeling with them.
I love that.
The first one was like weightlifting and stretching at one place, and then we went to like I think it was just like a weightlifting class at a new place, and the second place was way harder. Leaving there, I was like, I am not going to be able to move. And it is now Tuesday, and I'm like still a little sore in like the quads.
I think I've said this to you before, but Adam and Ari are the best couple to third wheel because in my single days, I was constantly third wheeling them, and they would bring me under their wings. Oh yeah. They would literally be like, yeah, because you bitch would be like, I'm going to go fucking dance. And I'd be like, all right. And Adam and Ari would literally just bring me under their wings, and shout out to the single life because it's tough going to weddings, Stag.
Yeah, but James and I are your parents at weddings, so.
Yeah, but listen, you as parents abandoned me. And Adam and Ari were true friends.
We had COVID, and we were at home, and we had mad people call us and be like, Lauren's falling asleep at the bar.
Wait, and I don't even know what you're talking about. I was just talking about varying other things. What wedding are you talking about?
About Kelly's wedding. And we were like, what do you want us to do about it? We're at home. And they'd be like, you like, what are we supposed to do? Like, Lauren, what do you need? And I'm like, dude, I live for every other wedding. You guys have to figure it out.
I think that was probably Jackson and Briggs calling you, because I have a picture on my phone of me resting my face on my hand and Jackson just cheesing it, selfieing while I'm... Listen, the best way to somewhat rally is napping throughout your night. I don't know.
You are the best rallier, though, I will say.
Thank you.
You get drunk. You get expeditiously drunk sometimes. With the chug happening. But I remember, do you remember that bar crawl in the Thousand Islands that we went on?
Yes, I do.
It was like every stop, you'd just be like, you'd take a little power snooze, and we'd be like, okay, Lauren, time to go to the next place. And you'd be like, oh, okay, come on. And you would wake up, and we'd get you a new spot.
At each place, I was just like a little snoozy snooze.
Just a little power nap to get you through.
You want to hear something wild? I'm probably not going to be bar hopping for this. God, I hope not. But
Let's hear.
right before I logged onto this, I got a Facebook notification from our class president. Yes, there's a Facebook group for this.
Your class president? Like from high school?
From my high school, our class president. And she
Do you have a
posted
reunion?
15 years, Jen. 15 years.
Did you go to your 10-year?
It was COVID. It was 2020.
Oh, that blows.
I give them all the credit. I think we're planning something epic. And because we were a rowdy crew. I mean, everyone probably says that, but we were a rowdy crew. And
West Jenny girls.
That's a good story to tell. Let's tell it.
Okay.
You're better at it.
So my college roommate, I went to 2-year school first. I got my associates, and my roommate at my 2-year school, I started dating a guy.
Rochester, New York.
Yep, in Rochester.
So an hour and a half from Syracuse.
Yes. So my roommate was from a town in Syracuse, and it was called Baldwinsville. And there was like a crew of friends that I like got to know, and then I started dating one of my roommate's friends. And we used to hang out and like chat about all their high school gossip. And she looked at me and she was like, listen, yeah, he's a good guy and everything, but if you ever hear of him hanging out with a West Jenny girl, immediately break up with him because all those girls are whores. They're like terrible, horrible people. And I like stuck it in the back of my brain, and I was like, all right, watch out for those West Jennies. And there was like, I think a little rivalry between like their friend group and West Jenny at the time. And
obviously.
Yeah. So then it's like what, a year later, and I go to Buffalo and I join the sorority and I meet my pledge mom, Lauren freaking you. I don't know. Are you sharing your last name on here?
I haven't decided yet.
Okay, that's why.
She does know she's my best friend, but she does know my last name. Whatever, it'll come out.
And you're like, hey, I'm Lauren, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, hey, where are you from? And she goes, oh, I'm from like outside of Syracuse. I went to West Jenny. And I was like, and I was still dating the boyfriend at this time. And I was like, I've been told about you fucking whores.
I've heard about you. I was an innocent little angel baby in high school.
Sure. Sure you were.
I was. The sorority corrupted me.
Well, I don't know.
But that is really funny. Of all the gin joints. Of all the gin joints in all the high schools, you rolled into mine.
I know. Thank God.
But
the rest is history.
Go. Yeah, the rest is history.
Oh, I would totally go. I went to my 10-year high school reunion, and it was kind of lame, but...
Well, the class before us, 2009, one of my friends was dating somebody at the time, and he graduated 2009, and they got rowdy. And
really?
Like, my goal is to go and not embarrass myself, but it's always an option.
I feel like a lot of people moved away from my hometown.
Really?
Yeah.
It was small. It was smallish.
It wasn't small. I graduated with like 250 people. 275 maybe. I don't know.
Small-ish.
What was your graduating class?
400, so it's not that
400?
much 400?
Oh my God. That is
actually
big.
Yeah. Well, do you want to know what's funny is
500 hoes walking around that school.
400.
Oh.
And it does overlap with genders. Both were hoes. But we had, I believe, exactly 400 kids, and 399 crossed the stage. I remember this because one of them, like rowdy fellas, was fucking around at, I think, the dress rehearsal for graduation. And they were like, you're not walking. So
oh my God.
Kids who was screwing around.
Imagine going home and telling your parents, like, well,
I think
I just got trouble.
Yeah. So I think 399 technically crossed or walked across the stage.
Did we ever tell them when we were talking about our sorority that you were my pledge mom? Did we tell them that? Oh, I feel like maybe it was insinuated.
We did, because that turning point of when the pledge mom's supposed to be mean at the pledges, you were like, huh, jokes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Listen, I tried my best.
But that's exciting.
I know we don't have a huge following on TikTok, and I forgot to tell you this, but the one video clip that we had of talking about questioning if we're in a cult or not, we got a bunch of comments on it of people being like, Greek life is culty.
I mean,
you pay for your friends.
To be completely honest, that episode opened my eyes. I can't say I disagree.
I saw the moment of clarity when you thought, oh, there's a point here to be made.
Yeah. And then I was thinking like, oh, I would never be in a cult. And
you kind of were.
But like, if you guys told me I had to get branded to cross, I'm not saying I would have done it, but like, I would have done a lot.
Okay. This is just off the top of my head, but would you rather both in inconspicuous spots, would you rather an attractive branding, like burn your skin, kills, hurts,
yeah,
or a ugly tattoo that's virtually painless?
Cute brand, 100%.
You'd go through the pain.
100,000,000%.
Okay, I think I would too.
Like, by a landslide.
I don't know if we have an email address that's public, but I feel like therapists are going to reach out to us and be like, just checking in. Are you okay?
Pain is beauty.
But also,
Put
like,
an ugly fucking tattoo. I have one tattoo that's like, do you know what I'm talking about? It's like questionably ugly.
I'm trying to picture all of your tattoos. I know you have one that's like Arabic. I know you have like a
it's
heart
like,
piece.
It's
kind of
on my lower.
Which I don't think are ugly, but
it's covered up by clothes.
Okay.
So, and not no one sees it often, except for James.
Just out there flashing coochie.
Well, like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. I actually really don't know when anyone would see it, but I don't get naked.
Is it visible in a bathing suit?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think it is. But yeah, that one I would cover up. If it
this
was
is so random, but I don't know why I just flashed to this thought. Because this is going to be like a TMI thing.
Oh, God.
Remember when we were in Montreal and I
got a tattoo there. Our whole friend group
did.
promised to get tattoos together, and me and Katie were the only ones who did it.
This was in Montreal when we were there for my 30th birthday.
Oh, yes.
So no tattooing. But we talked about this in one of our episodes where we were like blindly going to places because we were trying to get out of the rain, and we like got denied because it was the car race weekend.
Wait, can I interrupt you really quick?
We talked about not doing this.
Okay. Here's what I'm doing it anyways. There are 2 times in life when I've really been made to feel like an ugly piece of shit. And
then
both were with you. Both were with you. One was a good bar when we tried to bum a cigarette from that like Gen Z, and he was like, "Fuck no,
no."
And the other time was in Montreal for your birthday when we were trying to get into the clubs, and they were like, "You should have been on a wait list like 6 months ago. Fuck you." It was just an absolute mood killer. Okay, continue.
To get in here. Well, I don't know why I flashed this thought, but we're talking about like body modifications and whatever on the body.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I could say this because we have both had C-sections. But I just remember we literally thought we were going to a lunch spot in Montreal, and it was somewhat questionable because the signs were neon, and we just thought, this place is open and we're getting in. And we go in and there is a bunch of naked, beautiful women, and we were like, okay, so this is a lunch shift.
Wait, it was like dinner, and they...
Was it?
No, it was, yeah, because the boys were already out together, and we were like, okay, well, we're going to do our girls thing, and you guys are going to go do the guys thing. Or
So
Tanner.
naturally, we ended up at a strip club.
Yeah. But we really didn't know. Maybe we should
Oh
have.
no, genuinely did not know what we were walking into, and we eventually
I thought we were
realized.
just going to like a bar. And then I wondered why there was like a cover. And I was like, why are we paying to just go on this random bar? And then they were like, it's fine, just like go in. And they opened
Did they
up
not
and-
charge us? Maybe
I
we were
don't-
pretty for a second.
Yeah, maybe the like empty strip club.
Or they were like, we need girls in here
Yeah.
that aren't naked.
Yeah, and do you remember there was that one guy who all of the strippers were, it was like an
He was just,
old random guy who all the strippers were
just-
just hanging around.
yes, I do remember. But this
forgot
is my
about
vivid
that.
memory that we're sitting there and we're like, okay, we're gonna like get a drink. And the girls, as lovely as they were coming on stage like one by one for each of their songs. And this is not nice, but we were like, oh, this is like the B-list group, because you were like, I can see her 6 inches far.
Yeah, no hate to that stripper because I had a C-section too, but
I mean, same. But I'm like, damn, girl, like she still looked good. You just it was just very visible.
yeah.
And now knowing what you have to go through to get that, I'm like, ugh, mad respect.
Yeah, right? And then to be able to still... Did you know that strip club poles actually turn? Like, the girl isn't turning around the pole's turning.
I wasn't
know what I
today
mean?
years old when I learned that, but I did learn that
Recently?
Recently, yeah.
Yeah, like
It's
the
amazing.
actual pole spins. Who would
But
have
it's
known?
still incredible what they're doing.
Oh, hell yeah. Haley said she's wants to take a pole dancing class. And the next time I go visit her, she wants me to do it. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm excited.
We did Girls Weekend here in Saratoga, and they do that here. They have them.
Really?
There was one lady who was doing it, but
Let's do it.
I'm
It
so
seems
down.
fun.
It's I did it once.
And like core
while back.
workout. Was it
And
hard?
it's very empowering.
Really?
Oh yeah, I was dripping sweat.
What did you wear?
So the instructor wore, like,
Excuse me.
bless you, booty shorts and a bra. It was me and some of my girlfriends, and I think I was wearing like yoga pants and an oversized sleep t-shirt.
See, I feel like I wouldn't want to wear yoga pants because I feel like you gotta like grip the bar.
Okay, let me rephrase. I don't think I did anything with a pole, but it was an exotic dancing.
Oh,
Wait, I could be wrong. I don't remember.
Or
But do you want to know what I'm talking about tonight?
I sure do. Tell me all about it.
If you've ever seen the movie Public Enemies, it's a very, very good depiction of this man's life. Johnny Depp played John Dillinger.
Oh my god, he's so hot in the movie.
Yeah, how do we feel about him?
I don't know. I don't know how we're supposed to feel. I think he's a little crazy, a little cuckoo crazy in our relationship.
Yeah, little cuckoo bananas.
I am biased because my mom used to be in love with Johnny Depp, and so I've seen like every single movie of his pretty much ever.
I can't help but like him because I was such a big Pirates of the Caribbean girly fan.
And say
like,
Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
I say Caribbean.
Oh, I don't know
Really?
if we want to go down that path.
Pull the listeners.
Caribbean,
anyways.
I think is Western/Central New York. But yeah, I mean, I know he went through some shit with Little Miss Amber, but I can't help but have a soft spot for him. That movie was
I
made in
know.
2009, so this was before everything happened. But a lot of the movie is based on, it's historically accurate. Most of it, not all of it, obviously.
Really?
It's a story that's very sensationalized in it of itself, but because a lot of what happened actually happened. I can tell you a little bit about it if you want.
I would love that.
So we're going to be delving into the life and crimes of one of America's most notorious criminals, John Dillinger. He was a Depression-era outlaw. He had a lot of infamous bank robberies. There was prison escapes, and it all led to his eventual demise. So I'll get into it. Okay, it's story time.
Hey.
John Herbert Dillinger. He was born on June 22nd, 1903 in Indianapolis, Indiana. which I'm like, June baby. I think that means he's a Cancer.
Cancer.
Yeah, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Gemini and it's close. He was the younger of 2 children born to John Wilson Dillinger and Mary Ellen, or Molly, Lancaster. Dillinger's early life was marked by both tragedy and discipline. His mother passed away when he was just 3 years old, leaving his older sister, Audrey, to step in and help raise him. Audrey, already married and raising her own family, took John into her home for a time, providing some semblance of stability during his formative years. Dillinger's father, a grocer by trade, was deeply religious and adhered to a rigid sense of morality, which he attempted to enforce upon his son with strict discipline. Known for his stern and often excessive punishments, John Wilson Dillinger believed that harsh methods were necessary to correct his son's increasingly rebellious behavior. On several occasions, he physically disciplined young John for minor infractions, an approach he did later admit may have been too harsh. These frequent lashes between father and son created a tumultuous relationship that deeply influenced Dillinger's outlook on authority. Despite his stern demeanor, Dillinger's father did have moments of remorse and genuine concern for his son's future. He tried to instill values of hard work and honesty, often lecturing John about the importance of leading a virtuous life. However, these efforts were overshadowed by their constant arguments and John's tendency to defy rules. In an attempt to reform him, the elder Dillinger moved the family to a farm in Morrisville, Indiana, believing the rural environment would provide structure and responsibility. The plan backfired as John grew increasingly restless and began associating with local troublemakers. The relationship between Dillinger and his father remained strained throughout his life. While Dillinger sought his father's approval, he also resented the strict upbringing that he felt stifled his independence. This fractured dynamic likely contributed to Dillinger's disdain for authority figures and may have influenced his descent into life of crime. Despite their difficulties, Dillinger maintained a degree of respect for his father, even as he pursued a path that directly opposed his father's values. And to give you an idea of this time period, he was born in 1903, and he started kind of like committing petty crimes in his teen years, and 1919 marked the beginning of Prohibition as the 18th Amendment was ratified by the 36th state. So this outlawed the production, transportation, and sale of alcohol. And because of this, common crime just became more like accepted. Like criminals weren't as frowned upon just because people wanted their alcohol. And can you blame them?
Could you imagine?
Could
you imagine if they up and took away alcohol? I'd be so fucking pissed.
I mean, hello, what
I was going to riot over TikTok.
Actually, though, I know weed is legal now, but I don't know. I don't know what would my mind would be.
Suck.
Would suck.
Yeah, that would suck. So he's like a little troublemaker.
Yeah. And it obviously escalates with like the more crimes he commits, but troublemaker. So yeah, 1919 was Prohibition. In 1924, at the age of 21, John Dillinger married Beryl Hobius. She was 16 at the time.
Her name's Beryl?
Beryl. But
like,
spelled Beryl.
Oh.
Not like ironically, a barrel of... I did my head go there. I don't know. But yes, Beryl.
Interesting.
So they were 4 years apart, or I'm sorry, they were 5 years apart, but yeah, 16. I feel like it's forever too young to be married. From the beginning, their marriage was troubled. Dillinger struggled to provide for his young bride, working a series of odd jobs that offered neither financial security nor personal satisfaction. Mounting financial pressures and his growing frustration with the monotony of daily life put increasing strain on their relationship. Feeling desperate to improve their circumstances, he began seeking riskier opportunities. Later that same year, Dillinger committed his first major crime. Partnering with Ed Singleton, an older acquaintance, the two devised a plan to rob a grocery store in Morrisville. Dillinger's role was to create a distraction while Singleton entered the store to steal cash. However, their plan quickly unraveled when Dillinger's actions aroused the suspicion of the clerk, an older man named Frank Morgan, known locally for his sharp eye and no-nonsense demeanor.
They picked the wrong store.
Oh, they did. Yeah, and it fucked them. When Dillinger entered the store, his behavior seemed nervous and erratic. I mean, if I was committing my first crime, I would also be nervous and
Oh my
erratic,
God.
I'm assuming.
When I like walk out of the store accidentally with like an apple or something that my kids were eating,
Are you just like perspiring?
I go back inside.
So yeah, naturally he was nervous. He drew the clerk's attention. As Singleton made his move, Dillinger tried to further distract Morgan by engaging him in conversation. Sensing something was amiss, Morgan confronted Dillinger, demanding to know what he was doing. Dillinger panicked and attempted to brandish his makeshift weapon, a heavy bolt wrapped in a handkerchief. But the crude imitation of a gun failed to intimidate the clerk. Morgan quickly raised the alarm, shouting for help and alerting nearby townsfolk. The commotion forced Dillinger and Singleton to abandon their plan and flee the scene, so they didn't get any of the money. Their inexperience and poor preparation were evident as they were quickly apprehended by local authorities. Morgan's alertness and decisive actions were instrumental in foiling the robbery and securing their capture, and because of this, it earned him praise from his own community.
Did they get in trouble? Like, they get a slap on the wrist, or what do you get for?
They get in trouble, all right. This is like his downfall right here.
His downfall? I feel like he was just getting started, no?
Oh, yeah. I mean, trust me, it gets better.
Okay.
But yeah, no, this like ignited it because he becomes better after this. Better at doing crime. Okay, so Dillinger was very naive, and it was evident in the simplicity of his plan and the ineffective weapon he had devised. Singleton, leveraging his local connections and cooperative demeanor, received a comparatively light sentence. Dillinger, however, bore the brunt of the blame, largely due to his growing reputation as a troublemaker and his perceived lack of remorse for the crime. The judge presiding over Dillinger's case was known for his strict stance on crime. In viewing Dillinger as a young man on the verge of becoming a hardened criminal, the judge handed him a severe sentence of 10 to 20 years in the Indiana State Prison.
God.
Many regarded this punishment as excessive for a first-time offender, especially since Dillinger had cooperated with authorities and confessed to the crime. And so I read up a little on this, and it sucks because he obviously like did it and was caught, but the judge told him to plead guilty under the guise that he like would likely get a light sentence, and then
like a plea deal.
Not even like a plea, just that he wouldn't get 10 to 20 years. So yeah, fuck that judge. And again, this is just like DB Cooper, just like who we've been covering. This is one of those criminals that you're just rooting for.
Yeah.
Okay. While in prison, Dillinger's relationship with Burrough, I don't know why I'm saying like that. Burrough. It's such a weird name. I actually have worked with a woman and she was ancient, so this makes sense. And her name was Burrough. And I would always be like, Pearl? And she'd be like, Beryl.
John and Beryl.
John and Beryl. So it deteriorated rapidly. The separation, compounded by the stigma of his incarceration, placed insurmountable strain on their marriage. While serving his sentence, a 25-year-old Dillinger wrote this heartfelt letter to his wife. The letter, dated August 18th, 1928, so he had been serving for about 4 years at this time, revealed that Dillinger's longing for connection and his deep affection for Burrough still remained true. But unbeknownst to him, his 20-year-old wife was already contemplating divorce. So this is what he wrote to her. My dearest wife, received your sweet letter Tuesday, even the only one this week, and I'm still waiting for that interview. Gee, honey, I would like to see you. Herbert wrote to me last week. And just keep in mind, this is like a little all over the place. I would sure like to see him if he wants to come see me. Let me know and I will send him the car fare, I hope. Sis is getting along all right, and the rest of the folks are well. Sweetheart, aren't you ashamed for getting mad at hubby over that letter when you ought to have known that I would have wrote it if I could? And he kind of just goes on to like say how much he misses her and wants her to visit. And so he closes it with, for sweetheart, I love you so much. I just want to be with you and make you happy. I wonder if I will get an interview Monday. I sure hope so, for I am dying to see you. Darling, have some pictures taken. Every time I see you, you look dearer and sweeter to me. So I want late pictures. Now say raspberries, but honey, it's the truth. I sure am crazy about you. Write soon and come sooner. Love from hubby. A bunch of X's and O's.
Aw, he's just a romantic that wants a little money.
Yes. Yeah. He is a romantic, and he also, I don't know if it overlapped, but he is a ladies' man.
Oh, okay. So what year is this?
So he wrote her this letter in 1928 during his, like, when he was in prison for his first sentencing.
It's funny because the story that I'm researching for right now is taking place pretty much at the same time.
Really?
And yeah, it's funny because there are letters that I'm reading right now about my set of characters, and there's such a contrast in between the way that they speak. So I
Like,
wonder
he's
if it's kind of
not
like
very educated.
yeah,
So,
if it's indicative of like the people, some of my people are like socialites and
so maybe their education was just a little more elite.
yeah, it's just funny
Yeah,
the
he kind of
difference.
rambles, and there's really no cohesive train of. So, not just that letter, but everything else. It was evident that Dillinger was eager to reconcile with Burrough, but she did ultimately file for divorce, and her departure deeply affected him, fueling a sense of abandonment and further alienating him from conventional society. So he was really sad about that.
Is that Marion Cotillard in the movie?
No. No, we'll get to her.
I'm holding out for her because I
know.
love that. I love her.
Okay, so did you just say Marion Cotillard?
Uh-huh.
So I thought it was that, and I've been saying that. It's actually Marion Cotillard, I believe.
Sure. Well,
but
she's French, right?
Prettier. She is French, and we'll get to that.
Okay.
Dillinger's time in prison proved to be cathartic, but not in the way the justice system intended. The overcrowded Indiana State Prison subjected inmates to brutal conditions, including forced labor and physical punishment. Amid this grim environment, Dillinger formed connections with seasoned criminals who took him under their wing. He became particularly close to Harry Pierpont, Homer Van Meter, and Charles Mackley, men who would later form the core of his gang, men we will hear more about shortly. These experienced criminals became not just Dillinger's mentors, but his comrades, teaching him the intricate skills of their trade, cracking safes, planning heists, and evading law enforcement. Dillinger initially found solace in the prison baseball team and his work in the shirt factory, where his exceptional manual dexterity allowed him to consistently double his quota. And because of this, because he was so good at it, he would like always be helping other inmates, which helped kind of build his reputation as just like a charismatic guy, a good friend, and yeah, likable. And even if you watch the movie, like I imagine Johnny Depp emulates him very well. You just can't help but like him.
Yeah, it's been years since I've seen that movie. I don't really remember anything about it.
It's from 2009, so it's, 15 plus years old. But it's good. It's a good one. So he was often able to earn the respect and friendship of other inmates. He faced a crushing blow when his initial request for parole was denied. Although he attempted to escape several times, he struggled to see his own role in this predicament and grew increasingly bitter about this decision. He eventually quit playing baseball, a rare source of joy in his life, and requested a transfer to Michigan City. Officially, he claimed it was to join a better baseball team, but his true motivation was to reunite with Harry and Homer Van Meter, who had already been transferred there earlier, two of the guys that he'd become comrades with.
Oh, okay. Wait, so is he serving 10 years or 20 years?
So it's one of those things where it's like 10 to 20 and then like based on behavior.
Okay.
But you'll soon learn that he does get paroled. In addition to honing his criminal abilities, Dillinger spent considerable time observing the routines and weaknesses in prison security, lessons he would later apply in his daring escapes. Despite the harsh conditions, his natural charm and resourcefulness allowed him to navigate the prison hierarchy successfully. He earned respect, again, from both the inmates, but also the guards, which further cemented his influence behind bars. Life at the prison was more rigid and punishing than what he had wanted and what he had been experiencing with his transfer. But seeing older men and some that were his father's age condemned to spend the rest of their lives behind bars kind of left him introspective and withdrawn. So just that change in scenery and kind of seeing the dynamics of the people that were lifers, he was like, I don't want to be here.
That sucks.
Yeah.
All I did was, what is it? Knock over
attacked a clerk.
A grocery store. Give him a couple of years, send him on his way.
Nowadays we'd probably be like life, but
I wouldn't. Free Luigi.
The memes around Luigi Mangio, what's his name?
Mangione, right?
Or Wild. Yeah. Did you see the clip of Dave Franco being like, I've never been texted more in my life than I have been now because people want him to play
I just saw that like
a
an
version of
hour
him.
ago.
It's
so
so
funny.
perfect. And I do really like him.
I fucking love Luigi. He's just like, he epitomizes. No, fuck that. He epitomizes like, I support him all the way. I've been radicalized against insurance companies, so I'm gonna fuck that.
I get it. It's just tough.
But seeing America thirst trap over this assassin, it's just so funny to me. I love it. And I would like to think that John was in the wrong time because, 100 years later, he could have been, people could have made TikTok edits about it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he does get a reputation of, people do call him like the Robin Hood of his time, but there's no evidence of him like giving back to the poor. They just admired what he was doing.
Okay, all right. Tell me more.
His buddies, Pierpont and Van Meter, were able to introduce him to Walter Dietrich, a seasoned bank robber with ties to Hermann Lamb. Lamb is a former German military officer, and he had perfected a methodical military-style approach to planning bank heists. Dietrich eagerly passed his knowledge on to Dillinger. Through Dietrich's guidance, Dillinger learned to study bank layouts, locate exits and windows, map escape routes, and understand the proximity of law enforcement. So his two buddies, Pierpont and Van Meter, they were serving longer sentences, but they had no intention of waiting out their terms, and they started to plot their escape. But it would require funding to bribe the guards, secure weapons, and establish a safe hideout. And Dillinger's release was imminent, so they brought him into the plan. They gave him cash. They also gave him a crash course in robbery, and they provided a list of banks and stores to target. They connected him with reliable accomplices on the outside, and they taught him how to fence stolen goods for quick cash.
So jail was basically just like heist school for him.
Yeah. The criminals in training.
Gotcha.
Which I'm like, it's pretty badass. At least for Dillinger. Like, he was living it.
Yeah.
In May 1933, so at this point he had been serving almost 9.5 years, he received news that his stepmother was gravely ill. He was finally granted parole after nearly a decade in prison, and he returned home, but she had already passed away.
Yeah.
And his dad had actually petitioned with I think he got over 180 signatures from their small town in Indiana to get him paroled. And so it worked, but then she passed. So he wasn't able to say goodbye to her.
Bummer.
From his sentencing to his parole, Dillinger went from an inexperienced petty thief into a calculated and highly skilled criminal, because it was criminal school. In prison, far from rehabilitating to him, had instead become a training ground. So he acquired all this expertise, and he was soon going to be able to execute these sophisticated bank robberies. And knowing that he was paroled and he had went home, this was the height of the Depression, and criminals finding employment was just super unlikely. So justifiably, he kind of just returned to crime.
A life of crime.
The life of crime. So he had bitterness toward the system, as it were. He believed that it had wronged him, and he emerged ready to make a name for himself as one of America's most infamous outlaws. With little to hold him back, Dillinger immediately joined forces with Pierpont's associates on the outside and began a series of robberies. They amassed nearly $50,000, which is about $759,000 in today's money, which is a lot. And he did have two female accomplices, which I was like, fuck yeah. Pearl Elliott and Mary Kinder. So they devised a plan to smuggle firearms into the prison to get his two buddies out. And he arranged for the guns to be hidden in a shipment of thread destined for the prison's shirt factory. So it kind of set the stage for the daring jailbreak that they were planning for September 27, 1933. So this was a few months after his parole.
Okay, so
or that he was
John
paroled.
gets out, and then he's like, I'm going to break my buddies out.
Yeah, true friend.
Yeah, right? I'm seeing green flags.
Beige flag? Green flag? No red flags here.
Loyalty.
Yeah. So while waiting for this plan to unfold, Dillinger decided to visit a woman he had met earlier while he was like executing all these bank robberies in Dayton, Ohio. But unbeknownst to him, law enforcement had been tracking his movements as he worked to fund this escape plan. And acting on a tip from his landlady, the police stormed Mary's room and arrested Dillinger, sending him back to prison.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know, right? You're like, God,
He just got out.
no. Meanwhile, Pierpont and his men were still planning to execute their escape from Indiana State Prison as planned and regrouped at a hideout in Hamilton, Ohio. So they escaped.
And he's in the hole now.
Yeah.
Damn.
So Dillinger missed participating in the jailbreak. He was being held at the Allen County Jail in Lima, where he was indicted for the one robbery. But before locking him up, officers discovered what appeared to be a prison escape plan among his belongings. And when pressed for an explanation, Dillinger refused to say a word because, like, your boy's loyal. But what authorities didn't realize at the time was that Dillinger had already orchestrated a breakout plan. And so they were just like, he was always one step ahead of them.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to his arrest, Dillinger had helped smuggle guns into the prison. So Dillinger is arrested, but his buddies were able to get free. On October 12th, 1933, Pierpont, his boy, Clark, and Mackley arrived in Lima, but under the guise of Indiana State Police officers, claiming they were there to extradite Dillinger.
Ooh.
When Sheriff Jess Sarber demanded proper identification, Pierpont responded with deadly force, shooting Sarber on the spot. The gang then freed Dillinger from a cell and fled to Indiana, where they regrouped with the rest of their crew. So they had his back.
So they pretended to be cops.
They pretended to be police officers that were just there to extradite him, but they caught on and essentially shot and killed one of the. Yeah, I just don't think they gave a fuck, like the criminals. So they were like, "We'll just kill them." So the gang continued to carry out a bunch of infamous bank heists. And while all of this was unfolding, he's still like a man they're like looking for him. But his personal life became intertwined with his criminal exploits. One of his most significant relationships of his whole life began in 1933 when he met Evelyn Billy Frechette. She was like Evelyn. Yeah.
This is Marion.
Yeah, this is Marion Cotillard. And she does a great job in the movie. She's kind of like half French, half Native American. And in real life, I think her dad was French and her mom was Native American and French.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I saw her picture, like, she's a cute gal. So, like, no wonder Dillinger became
the real one
by her. Yeah, she's cute.
I'm looking her up.
And I think Marion, the character or the actress that plays her, I think she did a really good job. And they kind of resemble each other. I see it.
What's her name?
Billy Frechette.
Billy. Oh.
It's like a love story. And it's based on
They're
mostly
cute.
truth. I know. Honestly, the movie does such a good job depicting his life. Oh, I haven't seen that. They were like
for just the listeners, I'm showing her a picture. That's like really cute.
Are they like leaning on a car?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
Look at them.
So don't you just want to be friends with them?
Yeah, honestly, just let them.
You're rooting for him.
Yeah.
You fall more in love with her once you find out what she does for him.
Okay.
So
we're just pro-criminal here. That's what.
Apparently, we're like, yeah, don't catch him. So they met in like October, November 1933.
Mm-hmm.
Their time together was marked by a blend of fleeting luxury and relentless peril. Dillinger lavished Billy with gifts purchased with the stolen money, clothes, jewelry, and other tokens of affection, creating moments of glamour in an otherwise tumultuous life.
Is she a heister too? Sorry.
So no, it's okay. She helps,
or is she just like
evade?
She
doesn't
him.
like go to the bank and rob. She
just like silently approves.
Yeah, but she
Okay.
also does kind of like accomplice him here and there.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, she's in it.
Okay.
Uh, so
Supporting her man.
yeah, can't blame her. So
Okay.
there was creating moments of glamour in an otherwise tumultuous life. The couple constantly moved between safe houses, staying one step ahead of law enforcement. They relied heavily on Dillinger's criminal network for resources, and Billy played an active role in supporting him, often serving as a lookout or providing cover stories to protect his identity. So yeah, she was helping out.
Wow.
In public, their dynamic appeared magnetic. Dillinger's charm and Billy's quiet devotion gave the impression of a couple deeply in love, though their life on the run was anything but idyllic. They lived in a constant fear of capture, and Billy was always aware of the risk involved in being associated with one of America's most wanted men. Still, she stayed by his side, helping him evade capture multiple times.
I would do that for James.
I would do it for Tanner. But I'm also
living
like,
a life of crime.
please
don't.
Please keep staying at your job. In October 1933, the gang executed one of their boldest heists at the Central National Bank in Greencastle, Indiana. They locked bank staff and customers in a vault while emptying cash drawers, escaping with over $75,000, which is approximately $1.14 million in today's money.
Did they have like marked bills and stuff at this time?
I think they technically did have like serial numbers on their bills, but they weren't like inking them at this point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was much easier to steal money back then. So
yeah,
don't try it now.
Okay. Keep that
Witnesses noted. Witnesses described Dillinger as polite and charming during his robberies, a striking contrast to the chaos he orchestrated. Everyone was like always saying like if they were at the bank, like he did it. He had Riz. Is that what the kids were saying? He had Riz. They were always like he was kind, and it was evident that he was more taking it out on like the government and like the money and
not the actual
like,
people.
Not the people. So while they weren't normally violent, there would be occasional shootouts and people did die along the way. Generally, it was like there was a few officers here and there who lost their lives. So they were known to be using like lethal force and being willing to. So that's why the FBI became involved, because people were dying. So
now the FBI is searching for him.
Yeah, so now the FBI is involved.
So it's more than just like local police. And
they're like nationally
known. This is a full manhunt.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So this is all taking place in like 1933. Like he escaped, and now he's like doing all of these heists, but they're like kind of all over the country because they're trying to not get caught.
Him and his like cadre.
Yeah.
Okay.
So moving forward to January 15th, 1934, there was a robbery, or they committed a robbery at the First National Bank in East Chicago, Indiana, and the gang stole $20,000, which is approximately $303,000 in 2025. Dillinger is alleged to have shot and killed Officer William O'Malley during the escape, which intensified the efforts of law enforcement to capture him. So that was, I think, one of his only accused killings, and I don't think he was ever technically charged on it, but you learn that like a lot of his gang hit like were shooting, but that was the one that he allegedly committed.
Okay, so a little bit of a red flag there, but
little red flag. Murder, generally red flag. In March 1934, Dillinger and Billy narrowly escaped arrest during a raid in St. Paul, Minnesota. They were posing as Mr. and Mrs. Carl Hellman. They were staying at an apartment when law enforcement, tipped off by a suspicious person, launched an ambush. Dillinger managed to shoot his way out of the building, and the two fled the city, once again narrowly avoiding capture. Their final months together were fraught with increasing danger, because yes, there's final months together. I haven't already alluded to that. You know, we're fraught with increasing danger as federal agents intensified their pursuit. So yeah, federal agents are pissed because he's kind of made like an ass of all of them at this point.
Mm-hmm.
The constant,
kind of like a la Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
He's like
Matt Damon, basically. Is it Matt Damon? Yeah.
No, it's Leonardo DiCaprio. right? Catch Me If You Can? Yes, it's Leonardo DiCaprio.
What am I thinking of? They
Oh,
confused me.
I know who you're thinking of. Like The Bourne.
Bourne?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Jason Bourne. Yeah.
Catch Me If You Can, when he pretends to be a pilot, a lawyer, a doctor.
He like forges checks, right?
Yes, he's a check
Okay.
forger. And they're
That's a
like
good movie.
searching for him forever.
That's
Okay.
a good movie.
Where like
yeah.
the FBI is like searching for him.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks, I believe. Actually.
And something else I should mention, Public Enemies, like the main FBI person who is trying to catch him, it's Christian Bale. I don't
Really?
remember his character's name, and I think he probably took after somebody in real life but they really like amplified his role, obviously, because it's Christian Bale. The constant stress of evading the law began to wear on them. By April of 1934, Dillinger left Billy in the care of his associates, knowing her presence with him would only increase the risk for both of them. But despite this separation, Billy's devotion to Dillinger never wavered.
Aww. So he thought it was like too dangerous for her?
Yeah, and I think he was still like on his crime spree, basically. So they were like constantly moving and constantly uprooting their lives, and I think he just wanted to like keep her safe. But in April of 1934, around the same time where he left her behind, so to speak, her loyalty was again tested because federal agents arrested her at her brother's home in St. Paul, Minnesota, and charged her with harboring a fugitive. So at this time, he's not with her.
He wasn't with her. Prove it.
I know. So she endured grueling interrogations but refused to reveal Dillinger's location, demonstrating her unwavering commitment to him. Following her arrest, Billy was convicted and she was sentenced to 2 years in federal prison. And if you watch the movie, the police officer who like interrogates her, I don't know if this is true, but like was essentially like slapping her around, and it was really sad.
Damn.
So I imagine it's somewhat accurate. Her
in 1930.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't doubt it. And she fucking held her ground for her mans.
Love her. Loyal.
Yeah.
That's a loyal woman right there.
A loyal gal. She'd be a great friend. Her imprisonment deeply affected Dillinger, reportedly exacerbating his recklessness and sense of vulnerability. She served her sentence at a women's prison in Milan, Michigan, and she was eventually released 2 years later in 1936. So during this time, he
didn't break her out. He broke his buddies out, and not her.
I think because her sentence was short, and he knew she was like safe there, I think.
Yeah. And probably they were like waiting for him for him to show up.
And he's such like an icon, and he's so high. He's like the number one most wanted at this point.
What do they call them? Number one, Public Enemy number one, the like most wanted one in America.
Eventually, yeah.
Oh, Public Enemy, the movie. Okay, yeah,
he does become
it's
Public
all
Enemy
together.
I didn't get the correlation immediately either, so
okay.
But yeah, so while she's in prison, he's on the run. He's committing crimes. He's robbing banks. The gang's activities culminated in a violent confrontation on April 20th, 1934, at the Little Bohemia Lodge in Manitowish Waters, Wisconsin. Federal agents attempted to ambush the gang at their safe house, but the operation turned chaotic. Babyface Nelson, one of Dillinger's associates, killed FBI agent W. Carter Baum during the shootout, and a civilian, Eugene Bosno, I think I have that right, Bosno, who was accidentally killed by federal agents. Despite law enforcement's presence, Dillinger and several of his gang members managed to escape, cementing their reputation as elusive fugitives.
Wow.
Which I'm like, that's impressive. The Dillinger gang's success was rooted in meticulous planning and their reliance on insider information from corrupt officials or bank employees. So they did have people on the inside. They frequently cut telephone lines to delay alarms, expending the time they had to carry out their heists. So they were just continuously executing more heists. And Dillinger's charm, good looks, and audacious behavior enhanced his mystique. And his relationship with Billy Frechette humanized him in the eyes of the public, fascinated by the gang's exploits. So the public was like on his side.
So what's he doing with all this money? Are they like spending all of it, or what? I mean, it seems like they've heisted a lot at this point.
They like are, but also I think it's hard to spend like all this money while they're on the run.
Right. So like, why don't they just like stop heisting and live on what they have and lay low for a little while? Can you ask him for me? Why
I'll
didn't he
ask him.
do? You know, you would think like pull off a couple. You're pretty set by 1930 something standards, 1936 or whatever.
I know.
So just like chill for a little while on the
Like,
heist.
yeah, right. And like enjoy your earnings, quote unquote.
Yeah, like you got what you wanted. Just go off with Billy.
Go off with Billy. One of the things he's most known for is his like infamous prison escape, which took place in January of 1934 because he just kept getting caught and like escaping, caught and escaping. So we're gonna backtrack a little. In January 1934, him and several members of the gang were captured in Tucson, Arizona, and they were transferred to Lake County Jail in Crown Point, Indiana. The jail was heavily guarded and advertised as escape-proof, but Dillinger had other plans. His escape remains one of the most famous in criminal history due to its sheer audacity and ingenuity. He reportedly began plotting this escape shortly after arriving at Crown Point, so like right away. Observing the routines of the guards in the jail's layout, he devised a plan to create a fake gun. Using a piece of wood, likely from a washboard or shelf, he meticulously carved it into the shape of a revolver. To make it look realistic, Dillinger used shoe polish and black ink to darken the surface. This careful preparation took days of effort, requiring not only skill but also immense patience and nerve. On March 3rd, 1934, he put this plan into action. He concealed the wooden gun and waited for the opportune moment when a guard was close enough to be intimidated. With a fake weapon, he forced the guard to surrender and locked him in a cell, which is incredible. It's a fake gun. Moving quickly but deliberately, Dillinger used the element of surprise to overpower additional guards, locking them up as well. His calm demeanor and authoritative commands added to the illusion of his supposed firepower. He gained control of the jail basically, and made his way to the armory, where he armed himself with actually real weapons. And this pivotal moment shifted the balance of power completely in his favor. He continued his escape by taking several hostages, using them as human shields to prevent other guards from intervening. To complete his daring breakout, Dillinger stole the sheriff's personal car, a Ford V8, which I'm like, is that where V8 juice comes from? And he used this to flee the scene. The act violated the National Motor Vehicle Theft Act, which is considered a federal offense, and it escalated his status to a national fugitive. Dillinger's escape was so audacious that it left both the local authorities and public stunned. And there were rumors that he had inside help from bribe guards, which like that's pretty well known now that he did. I'm sorry, it wasn't like ever confirmed, but there's some evidence that supported this theory.
Oh my
The
God.
escape highlighted, what was that?
I can't imagine him not having help.
Oh yeah,
Help. You know what I mean?
and like he had the riz. He could probably talk anyone into helping him.
Yeah,
Almost
and
anyone.
you know he's got the money for it. So
Yeah.
by this point,
So basically, he just had the ability to exploit his surroundings to his advantage. His successful breakout from a quote-unquote secure jail further cemented his reputation as a criminal mastermind and added to his growing legend. It was so humiliating for like the FBI, and they really tried to they kept trying to intensify their efforts, but he kept escaping their clutches. And this is when, like around the time, he was dubbed public enemy number one.
Wow.
So this one I thought was super cool because I didn't really know when plastic surgery came to be. But in May of 1934, he underwent plastic surgery in an effort to alter his appearance and evade law enforcement. I know. This guy is doing it all.
I want to see like a before and after.
Does
that exist?
Pictures of him, and it's like minimal. Like it's nothing. It even like historically, it even says like it just didn't do a whole lot.
Work that well.
Yeah. The procedure was performed by Dr. Willem Lozier, a physician known for working with criminals, and was conducted in a clandestine location in the Chicago area. And over the course of 2 days, Dillinger's face was surgically altered. He had like scars that were removed. I I guess some of his facial contours were adjusted and a mole was burned off. And additionally, his fingerprints were treated with acid in an attempt to obscure his identity further.
Oh my God. He's doing the most.
He really is. But despite these efforts, the surgery was only partially successful in changing his appearance. And his
Imagine
distinctive
that.
features... What?
Plastic surgeon to the criminals. Like, you know how there's like surgeon for the Hollywood stars. Like,
to the criminals.
Yeah.
I think he did spend, I think I saw that he spent like around $5,000, which in 1930 is a lot. And he did go under like local anesthesia. So, I mean, they weren't just raw dogging this procedure.
So this is like an actual doctor.
Yeah. I think I also read possibly that the doctor had a medical license, but I think he was sent to jail at some point. So it's like, it might have been revoked, but your boy was still getting paid.
This is quite the company that he keeps.
I mean, he wasn't stupid.
Yeah.
You gotta give him credit where credit is due. Ultimately, his distinctive features pretty much, he remained recognizable to anyone familiar with him.
Mm-hmm.
On June 22nd, 1934, Dillinger was officially declared... Okay, so that was the date. I forgot to say this. So when he was declared public enemy number 1, it was actually by J. Edgar Hoover, who was the director of the Bureau of Investigation at the time, which is the precursor to the FBI. Which I was like, oh, J. Edgar Hoover, we know him. And the designation was given due to Dillinger's notoriety as the most famous and elusive criminal in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah. So, during this time in 1934, poor little Billy is locked up.
I was gonna say, is she's still in jail?
She's still locked up. Yeah. Okay. Prepare yourself. On July 22nd, 1934, John Dillinger's time as America's Most Wanted Man came to a dramatic end. His downfall was orchestrated with the help of Anna Sage, a Romanian immigrant and madam who was facing deportation. Sage, whose real name was Anna Cumpanas, struck a deal with the FBI to reveal Dillinger's whereabouts in exchange for leniency in her immigration case. Despite their transactional relationship, Sage claimed to have harbored some affection for Dillinger, complicating her decision to betray him. So Dillinger had been living in Chicago under the alias Jimmy Lawrence, attempting to keep a low profile while staying just like in the city. Sage informed FBI agents that Dillinger planned to see the film Manhattan Melodrama at the Biograph Theater on Lincoln Ave. Acting on this tip, a team of federal agents led by Melvin Purvis staked out the area.
Billy would never.
Never.
She would never.
The FBI prepared, which I also was reading that, like, while she was locked up, like, he had more ladies. And I was like, no, this is true love. Come on. But... So the FBI prepared meticulously for the ambush. Agents were positioned strategically around the theater with instructions to wait until Dillinger left the premises to avoid endangering innocent bystanders. Purvis himself stood outside the theater holding a cigar, a prearranged signal to identify Dillinger to the other agents. So, I believe, at least this is what happened in the movie, he was going to like light the cigar when he saw him. As Dillinger exited the theater around 10:30 p.m., flanked by Polly Hamilton and Anna Sage, the two ladies who accompanied him, Purvis signaled the agents. Dillinger quickly realized he was surrounded and attempted to flee in a nearby alley. The agents opened fire, striking Dillinger 3 times. A fatal shot entered the back of his neck and exited near his right eye. He collapsed to the ground and was pronounced dead at the scene. The aftermath was chaotic. Crowds quickly gathered around Dillinger's body, some dipping handkerchiefs in his blood.
Ew, that's fucking weird.
As like macabre souvenirs, which is...
That's so weird of all of those people.
And a lot of the focus was Sage's role in Dillinger's death. This madam, it became like a media sensation, though she ultimately received little of the promised leniency and was deported to Romania in 1936. So I'm like, after all of that, like, They're just not giving him up, girlfriend. But
So where's the girlfriend? Where's Billy at this point?
so this was in
She's free?
1934.
Was she
No,
locked
she's
up?
still in jail.
She's in jail? She
So
didn't even
she-
get to, like, be with him?
Yeah, so he dies and she's still serving her 2-year sentence until. I know. That was like the one thing I was like, oh. He was also with like 2 other women who he may have been romantically connected to. So I'm like,
Well, you know. A bad guy is a bad guy, you know?
Well, John Dillinger's life and death captivated the nation, and he left behind a legacy that still continues to resonate in American culture. During the Great Depression, Dillinger emerged as a larger-than-life figure, embodying the desperation and defiance of the era. To many, he symbolized rebellion against a system seen as oppressive and inequitable, particularly as banks were viewed as villains during a time of widespread financial hardship. And I found these two fun. I found a few fun facts about him. Because of his infamous prison escape with a fake gun, it was so embarrassing for law enforcement. It spurred like immediate reforms in jail security nationwide.
Really?
Yeah, like it triggered a bunch of.
They were like,
big
yeah,
jail.
we can't get embarrassed like this again.
Yeah, they were like, no more shoe polish. No, I don't know. He was bold. On the run, he would sometimes attend Chicago Cubs baseball games, and he would blend into the crowd, despite literally being America's most wanted man.
Wow.
He also was once declared legally dead by mistake, and he would use this to further confuse authorities. It was just like a random fact I found. I was like, okay.
Huh.
And this has been said, but despite his notoriety, he was still remembered for his politeness, especially during bank robberies, often addressing clerks and customers courteously.
Well,
I
that's
know.
nice of him.
Dillinger's image as a charming, audacious outlaw was amplified by the media. Newspapers eagerly chronicled his exploits, often portraying as a Robin Hood-like figure, even though there is no evidence he shared his stolen wealth with the needy. His ability to elude capture and outsmart law enforcement turned him into a folk hero, with some Americans cheering his defiance of authority. In popular culture, Dillinger's story has been immortalized in books. Obviously, like films like Public Enemies. There's a movie also called Dillinger, which is from 1973 with Warren Oates, and that inspired like a whole generation of people. These portrayals often highlight his cunning, charisma, and the cat and mouse game he played with law enforcement. Beyond Hollywood, his life has inspired countless novels, documentaries, and even museum exhibits, including Crime Doesn't Play, which is a display at the FBI headquarters.
Wow.
I know.
I wonder if they have the fake gun.
They should be like,
Yeah.
don't allow this. The fascination with Dillinger also stems from his role in shaping law enforcement. His exploits, along with those of other infamous criminals of the time, spurred the modernization of the FBI. Under J. Edgar Hoover, the Bureau developed more advanced forensic techniques, expanded its authority, and became a highly organized and professional national force. Dillinger's death was a pivotal moment that helped the FBI establish its reputation as a powerful federal agency. So they must have been like a joke before him.
Yeah. Clearly.
Oops. Despite his criminal actions, Dillinger's story continues to evoke complex emotions. He is remembered not just as a bank robber, but as a symbol of resilience and rebellion during one of America's darkest periods. His daring escapes, strategic heists, and untimely demise have ensured his place in American folklore, making him one of the most enduring icons of the 20th century. And that is the life and crimes of John Dillinger.
Good job. I wonder if he's like buried in Chicago somewhere.
That's a good point. Can we go see him?
Okay. Let's go on a
fangirling
tour.
over him? Or are we
Let's go on
fangirling
a
over
podcast tour of all of the places.
My
for our
gosh.
stories.
Where would we have been to? Well, Albany.
You want to go to
Buffalo,
Love
so, like,
Canal?
check. Maybe from afar. Can we get like a drone to overlook it?
I literally drove through it.
Hopefully you weren't exposed.
Wait, you want to know something really crazy? I just
Always.
Googled where is, and my second result was where is John Dillinger buried? Did they know? How did
You're
they know I was going to
lying.
ask that? No, I literally swear to God.
It's listening to you.
I said where is. And that was the second result. But the answer is in Crown Hill Funeral Home and Cemetery in Indianapolis.
Okay, so he returned to like his roots over yonder.
Yeah. Okay, so do you remember how I texted you a few weeks ago and I was like, we should have awards for each like story?
Criminal we cover? Oh wait,
Yeah.
I do remember this.
Okay, so I don't know what it'd be called, but like
Superlatives.
loyal ass bitch superlative. And Billy gets this one for sure.
Oh, Billy deserves it all. You know, I meant to look into
Female hero. What do we call it? I don't know.
like
DM
female
us.
vigilante.
Vigilante.
Vigilante. She wasn't really a vigilante.
She wasn't really a vigilante, but
she was a queen of her own right.
Queen of the story. Queen of the I don't know. But Tamsin Donner. Loyal to the end. Billy, whatever her name is, loyal to Dillinger.
I can say this now because this episode isn't released yet, but the Love Canal story, it's not just the Love Canal. I don't know if I told you this, but I titled it Love Canal and Badass Women because
hell yeah,
we cover women who are badasses.
And now leaving that story, I was like, I'm on the feminist train now. So
right,
my next week one is going to be
we do support and love
story.
Our men, but we do really just love being pro women on this podcast.
Girls.
What are they called? Crown holders?
I don't know what that means.
Really? You know where I first heard the term? Ironically, back before shit hit the fan, Blake Lively said
you lost me there.
I don't think I've ever seen her eyes roll so much. She said the highest compliment she's ever been paid was somebody called her a crown holder, which is essentially you hold the crown of like a girl you support, which like Jennifer,
that's nice.
Holder. But I'm like, she doesn't hold that title anymore.
Right.
After all the shit. I know.
This is maybe a really controversial take and people will hate me, but
I feel like it's not a controversial take because of all the shit. As soon as
but you were on my side. You were on my side to start. Remember? Yeah. I don't remember if you were. I think you were.
You kind of had to convince me because I was like, I like Blake.
I mean, I don't like her. I think she has an unlikable personality. I don't like Ryan Reynolds. And
I was torn. That's why you sent me 78 TikToks about like her evidence of her being shitty to people.
She's just like cringy and ick.
Yeah.
I'm not a crown holder right now.
And also like,
anyways,
what does our girl Taylor see? That's what kills me.
Okay.
I don't give a shit what she does. But what does Taylor see?
I have feelings.
Please tell.
So like Blake sucks. Brittany Mahomes sucks. Oh, wait. We didn't even talk about this yet. The fucking Buffalo Bills.
Oh, I've been in the morning.
Just ripped my heart out.
So for our
sad.
Listeners, we record about 2 weeks ahead of schedule, and the Bills played the Chiefs 2 days ago on this time line. So we're devastated.
I'm still not over it.
I'm so not over it. It does.
Anyone with Mahomes.
Did we lose fair and square? I don't know, but it gives me so much happiness that everyone on the internet is like, the Bills got screwed over by the refs.
Yeah.
And all the weird AI memes of like Mahomes making out with the refs. I'm like,
that's weird.
They are weird. Not the gayness isn't weird. We love that, but
Lauren,
you know what I mean. I need to make it known that we support gays.
Obviously. But the weird like AI pictures are just like, oh, okay.
Well, they're fake. You can tell.
I know. I always tell everyone, like, look at their hands. Their hands are the first place that you can tell that it's fake. Because
oh yeah, you did say that.
It'll look completely normal, and then they'll have like missing fingers or like 10 fingers on one hand or something. That's
Wait,
how I
but
always look.
seriously, I'm so devastated. I wasn't gonna watch, and then I was gonna
You
drink
can't
while I
not
watched.
watch. It was just a roller coaster the whole game.
They never make it easy for us. I love them. I'm devoted to them, but they just never make it easy as fans. It's always you're on the edge of your seat.
And it's just like the Chiefs and the Eagles again. Like, boring. I don't even want to watch that. I don't. Like,
I really
obviously,
hope
I'm
the Eagles
rooting for
win.
the. Yeah, I'm really rooting for Philadelphia now, but.
Did you see that Jason Kelsey on their podcast was like, Travis asked him outright who you rooting for, and Jason Kelsey was like the Eagles.
Really?
He's like,
I
I'm
didn't see
rooting
that.
for Travis to do good, but I want the Eagles to win. I was like,
Really?
fuck yeah, Jason. Yeah.
Did they? The Eagles didn't win. Did they win? Did they win the last time?
The Chiefs won.
Oh yeah, they must have because they're going for their third.
Because if they win again, which I'll be pissed, I think they'll be the only team to win 3 years in a row.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're right. So the
Didn't the
Eagles
Patriots do
must
that?
have lost.
This is not a sports podcast. I base
Yeah,
most
wait.
of my things on guesses.
You know what I love? Do you watch the little sports gossip like segment
Where they like compare teams to characters.
Yeah, and like it's some guy and a girl, and she's like, "Hit me, sister," and he's like, "Okay." So the AFC East is basically like, and like
Yes, because you sent me these. This is why I've seen it, and I'm here for it.
I can't help but share all the
Please
stuff
never
I
stop.
love.
Wait, did you have a point to that?
About what? No,
You're just telling
it's
me,
just fun.
asking me?
That's how I learned my sports gossip. That's where I get everything I know from them. Not really, or just James rambling. But
Well, here's to the 2025 season, 2025-2026 season. Go Bills. We love you, and we're still here.
I'd like to dedicate your episode to Evelyn Billy, whatever her last name is.
Evelyn Billy for shit.
I wonder what Beryl thinks.
Beryl's like,
You think
damn, I dodged
Beryl's
a
like,
bullet.
yeah, I know.
Literally.
Imagine you get divorced from your husband, and then he becomes public enemy #1, and everyone thinks he's cool, and the whole country is searching for him, and he's got this like hot new loyal girl. Like, I'd be like, oh, God, I'm not buying a paper ever again.
And I don't know about after Dillinger, but I know before Dillinger, Billy was married and divorced, which, like, who cares, but to a criminal. So she just might have had a knack for finding these. Yeah.
What did his dad, was his dad like, did it ever talk about like,
I
his dad
just
like,
know that his dad felt like guilty for like most of his life. I think he was still alive when he died.
but did they have a relationship, or were they just
It was
on the outs?
It was like on the outs, but I think honestly his dad might have like harbored him at one point.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Well,
We hope you enjoyed.
bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.